This week, connecting with the section with the portion Korach, the first idea, which is the main idea for tonight and for this coming week, the feeling of being far from our potential is really the soul awakening a desire to get closer to our potential. When we get to feel that there is something greater for us in life, when we feel that we are capable for much more in life, spiritually, from the soul perspective, unlike what normally we would feel, from the soul perspective, those feelings are being awakened just for the purpose of awakening a greater and deeper desire within each one of us to get closer to the true potential that we have in this life. When our desire is being awakened for more, when this voice inside of you tells you that there is more for you in life, you can do much better, you can achieve more. There are two things that we will need to learn how to awaken, that normally they would not be awakened naturally. Two things that we will see, they seem to be opposing each other even, not even in alignment with each other, because of the natural way we view the process in our life and what's so-called our potential. What is it that our soul here to achieve? What is this greater level that we can get ourselves to? It can be greater energy in the relationship we have in life. It can be greater level in our spiritual work. It can be greater level in our career. It can be greater in any compartment in our lives. There will be two things that we will need to learn how to combine. The first thing, when this desire is being awakened, we will need to figure out ways to put into action, to find actions that we will need to take that will help us to manifest that energy that we want, that we desire in our life. So we will need to figure out the actions that we will need to take. Not always it is clear what is it that I need to do in order to manifest that greater level that I desire to manifest in my life. However, even if you do recognize and realize what are the actions that are needed to be taken by you to move your life to a higher place, to fulfill those desires inside of you, we will need to learn how to combine this desire and those actions that can lead us to more in life with patience. Because when you start to realize what are the actions you need to take that can move your life, your relationships, your career, your spiritual life to a whole new level, our tendency is to be so much into the actions, into the move, that we don't have a moment even to breathe, to take a step back, to be patient with the process, because we want to think the things to happen now. Is that true? Just taking the action, we will see how in a spiritual level, it will be limited way to get us to where we can be in life. But when it will be combined with patience, more specifically, we talk about our ability to allow the light, to allow the process, to allow the universe to be our guide, to allow that energy that we want, when we desire in our lives, to be revealed in the divine timing it meant to be revealed, and in the divine way that it meant to be revealed. One, actions. The second one, patience. Patience, spiritually, it is not just about be patient. Like a mother tells the kid, be patient, you will get it. No. What happens in that process? What does it mean spiritually be patient? Patience, in a spiritual level, it is something we need to develop. As we develop our connection, as we elevate ourselves within this process, from where I am right now to where I want to be, to know that I'm going to do whatever I can do in order to get myself there, but I don't want it to happen according to the time that I think it should happen, and I don't even want it to happen according to the way that I wish it to happen. If there is a better timing for it to happen, I want it to happen in a better timing. If there is a better way for it to manifest, I want the better way to manifest. Since our vision regarding our potential, unfortunately, is limited. None of us sees clearly. We have feelings, we have drives. None of us can see clearly what is it within the next level in our lives. Let's get for just a few minutes to the literal story of this week. So if you read the literal story, the biblical story of this week, again, Korach was a leader from the tribe of the Levites. He was a very powerful guy, very elevated, very spiritual guy. In one point in the process, if you read the story literally, what you'll get out of it, like all of us, is a simple take that Korach was a negative individual. Since in the literal story, one day Korach wakes up and asks himself questions. Why is it Moses is the leader? I want to be the leader. I actually supposed to be the leader. Why is it that Aaron got the priesthood? I want to be the priest. I can be the priest. If you'd read it literally, you'd look at a guy that had so much jealousy and probably so much insecurity about himself that all what he wanted are things that he didn't have. Someone that could not even appreciate what he had. He had so many blessings in his life. So he came to Moses, he came to Aaron, and he told them what he feels. That he's supposed to be the leader, not Moses. He's supposed to get the priesthood, not Aaron. He's supposed to be the one. If you look at Moses and Aaron, the leaders, there was a very surprising reaction from any leader that you could think about. But Moses is basically an Aaron. What they tell to Korach, listen, if you want it so much and you're capable of doing this work, do it. Take it. No attachment whatsoever. Not to the title, not to the power. If you truly think that you're the one and you're capable, since we're doing our work just because the Creator told us that this is what we're supposed to do. But if you believe that you're supposed to do it, here are the keys. He takes the keys, is doing some sacrifice, what Aaron's supposed to do, and suddenly there is kind of an earthquake. The earth opened up and swallowed up him and 250 people who gathered and supported him. So if you can imagine this situation, if you can vision it, horrible. Moses is standing here with his people, Korach is standing here with his people, and the earthquake happens only under the feet of Korach and 250 people of his camp, and all of them were swallowed and basically died in front of all the other people, that no one was harmed by this natural disaster. And the big question is, what's going on here? As we know, every story and every section within the Torah is a code. There are so many secrets behind, and not just regarding Korach, and not just regarding Moses, but regarding life. The Zohar and the ancient writings of Kabbalah of thousands of years, deciphering all of those stories that can be a fairy tale story to help us access into a wisdom, which is a life wisdom. And when we realize the power within this wisdom and the lessons, we realize quickly the Torah doesn't come to tell us about Korach and about his people and about all the physical interactions that happen there. The Torah is using those stories as a concealment over lessons and wisdom regarding life. So, when we're coming to learn about Korach, who was truly Korach? Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari, from the 16th century, who talks about all the root of the souls and the reincarnations and which soul came from where, and when he talks about Korach, he explains very clearly that Korach was indeed a very elevated individual. He came from the root of the soul of Cain. Cain and Abel. He came from the root of the soul of Cain. Not only that he was very elevated spiritually, but he achieved the level known in the writings as Ruach HaKodesh. He achieved that connection known as the divine inspiration. The things that he would do would not be guided just by his human thoughts that are just a reaction to things that are happening around us. One day we think this way, another day we think that way. He would be able to communicate with, in a clear way, with what is it that needs to happen? What is it that he needs to do? He was that connected. So what's going on? How the whole story ended up in that horrible way? The first thing I want to read for you is from the section from the Zohar, verse number 4. The Zohar writes, I'm reading in Aramaic, as every time that we read the Aramaic of the Zohar, even though our mind doesn't understand, most of us, the Aramaic, as we read the Aramaic, it's one of the most powerful forms, again, of connections and meditations that we use in Kabbalah, to not just to learn, but to awaken energy. The Zohar writes, ויקח קורח מאי ויקח, נסיב איתה בישה לגרמי. כל דרדף בתר דלאו דילי, יהיו אריק מקמי. דלה עוד אלמה דאית ביה איתה ביד מיני. קורח רדיף בתר דלאו דילי אביד ואחרה לרווח. Now Korach took. This is the way that the entire section starts with the verse, and Korach took. What is the meaning of took? The Kabbalists ask. He took faulty counsel for himself. What does it mean? If one chases after something that does not belong to him, it escapes from him, and he even loses what he has. Korach chased after something that was not his, therefore he lost his own, and no one else gained. So this is, I think, very clear idea that the Zohar shares regarding the times when we find ourselves chasing after things that they don't truly belong to us. However, there is the simple understanding of it. We can leave the session with this simple understanding. What I would like to do, it is to help all of us to gain much deeper understanding what the Kabbalah speaks about. What went wrong with Korach? How can very elevated, powerful, developed soul can chase, it seemed to be, after something that doesn't belong to them, as the Zohar writes. It seemed to be that he chased after the priesthood, after the title, after the respect that the leader would get. He wanted. This is not what we talk about. Not regarding Korach. In order to understand that, I want to share with you teachings which is based on the 10 Luminous Emanations. The 10 Luminous Emanations is a very deep aspect of the teachings of Kabbalah, based on the writings of Rabbi Isaac Luria and Rav Ashlag, the founder of the Kabbalah Center. In the 10 Luminous Emanations, in these teachings, what the Kabbalists explain is about the reality which existed before the reality that we know today. The reality known in Kabbalah is the reality of the endless. There was a moment in the development, I don't want to call it evolution, because when you truly understand what really happened, it is the opposite of evolution. Since our soul was created in perfected state into perfected world, there is one aspect of the reality that the Kabbalah speaks about, which is the reality of the endless, the reality of perfection. Within this reality, the way our soul, the way our consciousness, the way our vessel would operate, it's known in Kabbalah as kelim deigulim, circular vessels. Circular vessels. The idea of the tzimtzum, those of you studying with us for a while, you heard about the idea of tzimtzum. The tzimtzum is the contraction, the moment that our soul, our vessel, left this perfected dimension. We ended up in this reality that there is lots of good, but there are lots of challenges as well. There's good and bad. This is the tree of knowledge, good and bad. Sometimes things moving up, sometimes down. Things are not perfect. In the reality, after the endless, which is the reality after the contraction happened, after our soul left the endless, our vessel, our consciousness, our soul operates in a different way known as kelim dekav, the linear vessels. So in the original state of who we are, we operated in ways known, we will soon understand what does it mean, circular vessels. We ended up being in this world, going through our process, and our vessel operates in a linear way, not in a circular way. In the big picture, why the Kabbalah is using the term circular, since a circle, it's a shape that represents no beginning and no end, no higher and lower. There are no differentiations. Linear, there is beginning, there is end. There is higher and there is lower. Rav Ashlag writes, "Miterem shenivra olam," before the world was created, דהיינו באינסוף, meaning in the world of the endless, הכל היה ממולא מן אור אינסוף פשוט ההוא. Everything was filled with the endless, simple light. לא היה לו לא בחינת ראש ולא בחינת סוף. There was no beginning and no end. We all operated in a dimension of no beginning, no end. אלא הכל היה אור אחד פשוט. Within this dimension, it was all one simple light. Everything was filled with one endless, simple light. פירוש, meaning, שאין בו מדרגות של קטן וגדול, אלא הכל שווה. So in that reality of the endless, the vessel operated in a circular way, there was no discrimination, reality with no discrimination of small or big. If we talk about desire, big desire, small desire, everything was even. Reality, a dimension that everything was even. כלומר, meaning, שאין שם זכות ואביות שהמדרגות נערכות על ידיהם. A reality that there was no differentiations of levels. There wasn't me and you, there wasn't someone who knows more, someone who knows less. There wasn't anything that we could view as different than each other. Everything was even, filled up with this supernal, endless, simple light of the Creator. כי הבחינות אלו נתאבו בעולמות רק עם חידוש הצמצום. Rav Ashlag writes that all of the differentiations that we are aware of, that we know about, all the things that make us feel different than others, think different than others, desire different than others, all of those differentiations, the lack of unity, all the differentiations that we know, that we are aware of, all of those levels came about only after the tzimtzum, which is the contraction, the moment the light was removed from the vessel. So we talk about a dimension, a reality. If you can try to take your mind into that place for a moment, a reality that operates, works completely different than anything that you ever knew in your life. Everything is unified within that reality of the endless. There is no more, there is no less. Everything is one. When the Kabbalists speak about this idea, there is a verse that they use in order to bring the understanding a little bit down into our life. How does it look like? And it says that at the time that the complete transformation will occur in this world, when all the negativity will be transformed into positivity, times known as the times of Messiah. It is not about a Messiah that would come and we save the world. Messiah represents consciousness, collective consciousness that will be awakened in the world. Consciousness that basically helping each one of us to elevate to a place that we can view each other without all the differentiations. We can really connect with the unifying power, which is our soul. If I'm connected to your soul, I will be able to see the unity between you and me. When you connect with someone at the soul level, Yes, there might be many things that are different between you and them, but they are not affecting your view. They are not affecting your feelings. They don't affect your experience. When you look at somebody, what are you looking at? What do you see more? Do you see more the unifying energy between you and them, or do you see more the differentiations between you and them? At the time that the collective transformation will happen, it says that we will all elevate into that level, that all what we'll be capable to see is the unifying force within everyone and everything around us. And it says that in those times, Mala haaretz dea et Hashem k'mayim layam mechasim, that it will be like water that covers the ocean, if you can, imagine it. It says that the light of the Creator will be so overflowing, so overpowering, that it will make everything unified. If you look at the ocean, without being experts in ocean or in the nature, we all know how it's going to look like if all the water will disappear from the ocean. If all the water will go away, what are you going to see in front of you? Land. When you look at the ocean, do you see the ocean as flat? Everything is equal, right? This is the nature of the water, right? But if the water will be out of the land, are you going to see flat land? Not at all. You'll see all the differentiations. You'll see the different levels. There will be mountains, there will be valleys, there is some higher land and some lower land. But when the water covers everything, this energy is so overpowering that it is basically erasing from our view all the differentiations. In more elevated state of our mind, we are capable to erase the differentiation and to see the oneness and the unity that exists between us and other people. One of the indicators for our spiritual growth and development, it is definitely now not how much do you pray in a day or how much do you meditate. This is not what the Kabbalist would ask you in order to help you to recognize where are you in a spiritual level. But one of the ways will be in the way you live your life today. Did you see more the differentiations between you and others? Or did you see more the unity between you and others? Very simple. Very simple. In the most elevated level, the soul is capable to go beyond all the illusion of the differentiations and to be able to see and to connect and to experience the true unity that we share in the spiritual level. When Korach came to Moses, Korach, the Kabbalists explain, came from that mindset. He could see that there is an opening in the history, the development of the soul in this world to bring humanity, to bring the world into that level, to erase all the differentiations. This is why he came and told Moses and Aaron, I can be the priest, I can be the leader, not because you should not be the leader, but we all should be the leaders. Everyone, not just me. We all should be the leaders. He came from that level, from that perspective, that we all in the spiritual level, when we understand that level, would strive to get into. To realize that in the true essence of life, we are the same. Not in the way we judge our life in each other. This person is more successful than me. This person achieved more than me. This individual, has in their lives more than me. Relationships, money, whatever it is. We're constantly looking around and see the differentiation, and this becomes a motivation for us. You know what? I want to be like him. I want to be like her. Korach did not come from a place of jealousy. Korach came from a place that his mind was so attached to the light that he recognized there is an opening to bring the entire world into that place. And he told Moses and Aaron, listen, enough with high and low, enough with leaders and followers, we all should be leaders. However, we know something went wrong. It didn't end up well, right? The Kabbalists explain that where Korach came from, that mindset, he was right. He was right. This is what all the ancient Kabbalists explain, that will happen eventually. There will not be higher and lower. We all the same at the soul level. At that soul level, there are no differentiations. He was right about what he could see, about his vision, and about his desire to bring everyone to this unified place. Enough with people who need my help, they can give me help. No higher and no lower, we are all one. We are all one. The Kabbalists explain that Korach came from the right place. However, the biggest mistake that we make are not when we are wrong, but are when we are right. You might see something in life that you are so right about it. Spiritually, you might be right about it. Physically, you might be right about it. It can be, by the way, in a conversation with your kid, or with your spouse, or with your colleague, or with your employee, with your boss, with your neighbor. You see something that they cannot see, and you're completely right about what you see. But sometimes, our biggest mistakes are happening when we are so right about things. How easy it is to lose perspective when you are so right. How easy it is to be so right. I know what you need to do, and to tell you what you need to do, and this is true. And I'm right. But I'm telling it to you without compassion, without feeling you, in a way that you will not be receptive. So me being so right and capable to see higher truth is not going to help. It's not going to bring you to higher good. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help to the world. So sometimes we might be so right in all levels. But this is where we make the biggest mistakes. We're afraid most of the times of being wrong. You know, I don't want to be wrong, right? You need to make a decision, right? You don't want to be wrong. If I would ask you, by our tendencies, what is a bigger fear for you? Being wrong or being right? What would you say? Of course. Who is afraid of being right? When you understand what happened to Korach, you'll start to be afraid a little bit of being right. And afraid not in a negative way, of course. You know, the spiritual work should never be based on fear. It's when you're right, this is the time that you need to have some reflection. This is the time that you want to ask, maybe for advice, maybe for the opinion of other people around you. You know, this is what I see. And based on my experience of 30 years doing what I do, I know I'm right. But to come with a little bit humility to somebody that is close with me and to express, you know what, I feel this is the right thing to do. But you know what, maybe I'm wrong. This is a spiritual capability. This is a spiritual capability. Whatever it is that we do, wherever we are in our lives, we all get into that point. It can be in a simple moment of relationship with somebody, or it can be big, high-level decisions. When we get to feel that we are so certain this is the right thing to do, what is the point of being right and losing human dignity? What's the point? If I'm telling you what is the right thing without human dignity, it's better for me not to say it. It's better for me to take a step back to work on myself internally to be able to become the right channel of delivering the message. Maybe I should not be the channel to deliver the message. Maybe there is so much ego attached to what I see. Maybe there are blind spots. We all have blind spots in our lives. We all have different moments that blinding our vision, that we don't really see. We believe we see, but in the end, we realize, you know what, if I could see this and that, you know, I would come from a different place. How many of you know what I'm talking about? When our desire for more is being awakened, and you can realize that with all what I've done so far in my life, there is something greater that I can do. There is a greater way to live my life, a greater way to affect change, a greater way to add value, a greater way to live my purpose. There is something much greater in our life when this desire is being awakened. And especially when it comes to a moment that you recognize and realize that you can do more for others. Korach came from the intention of elevating the world, not only his community, not only his family, not only his friend. He came from that level of desire to elevate the entire world. So in our life, when our desire is being awakened for more, if you truly want to manifest that more in a healthy way in life, we will need to learn how to combine the effort with patience. When Korach came and he told Moses that this is now the time to elevate everyone, he didn't think for a second that he might be wrong about the timing. He didn't think in a second that he is completely wrong about the way that he wants to do it. The desire was right, but he was wrong. What is it that we need to do? When you recognize a desire inside of you that is being awakened for more, and you start to dig inside to look for the actions that it will take to get you into that place, what we want to develop inside of ourselves is the capability to be in two places at the same time. I'm going to put all my effort in it, but I'm going to detach myself from the outcome. I'm going to work so hard to make it happen, but I'm going to detach myself from the timing. I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to let the universe to do its part. If I would believe, like Korach believed, that he can take it from A to Z without opening himself up to the idea that might be that the timing is wrong, might be that the way that he wants to do it is wrong, if he would open himself up for this possibility, probably the whole story of his life would ended differently. When we make an effort to achieve something in our lives, this is just one phase. There are many times that we want things, but we don't even get into a clear place of what is the specific effort I need to make. So I talk about moments that you are clear about what is it that you need to do. Then combining your effort with the spiritual ability to detach yourself from the outcome, not only to chase after the specific outcome, the specific goal that I saw at the beginning of my process when my desire was awakened, because this is the nature of this world. Those of us who have true desires, we have goals in life and we work towards manifesting those goals, which is amazing. However, to get into that manifestation of the goal in a healthy way, one of the more challenging things to develop, and the energy of this week can assist each one of us in that, to awaken that power within, is our ability to detach yourself from the timing that you think is the right timing, from the way that you think is the best way of manifesting it. Most of the time, what we do, it's either detach ourselves from everything so we don't make an effort. If it needs to happen, it will happen. So I would ask you, what is the effort that you make? Oh no, I made already lots of effort, it doesn't happen, I let go of it. Do you truly let go of it? Or is it still bothering you that you don't have it? Don't tell me that you let go of it, because it is still bothering you. We don't let go by just saying let go and not making an effort. In order to manifest what truly meant to be manifested by us, we have to develop a whole new spiritual maturity. Being able to work so hard without seeing any results. But not because we don't want the results. Because we keep one thing in our mind. I know what I know regarding what I see. Is it the right way of doing it? I have no idea. I just know that this is what I see, this is what I'm capable of doing, and I'm going to put all my effort in it. But every day to find that moment, to get my mind into the place of detachment from the outcome. Telling the universe, if there is a better way of doing it, show me. I have no issue to let go of my way and embrace a better way. If there is a better timing for things to happen, show me. I don't want it to happen tomorrow if it's the wrong timing. Someone who is dating, when do you want to get married? as soon as possible, right? If it is the wrong timing, for whatever reason, it's the same like you planting a seed of orange tree. You want to plant it in the right timing. Like in the physical level, there is the right timing in the spiritual level. How do you know the timing? You don't know. How do you know the perfect way? You don't know. We don't know. We are not smart enough to know the perfect ways and the perfect timings. But when I am awakening that power to detach myself from the outcome or from the timing that I would wish it to happen, when I'm capable to detach myself from it, I'm creating an opening that my process, that the universe will find a way to show me a better way or better timing. If there is a better way and better timing. The detachment cannot be attached to frustration. Many times we work hard and we would say, you know what, it doesn't happen yet and I'm so frustrated, but I will keep working hard. You know what I'm talking about? Keep working hard without the excitement behind what you do will not get you there. It's very simple. The work itself is not the most important. If you put energy in something, you want to put it with all of your heart, with all of your excitement, with all of your strength. If you put 20% of strength and you keep doing the same things physically, the entire world externally would see, you know, you do work very hard, so why you don't get there? It's not about what you do or what you don't do. Are you putting all of your heart, all of your strength in what you do? And just to be clear, there is a place for all of us to grow in putting more energy in what we do. I don't believe that any of us put the 100% of that energy in things that we do. But when you remember that, you'd search internally for ways, how do I put more energy in the things that I already do? How do I put more excitement in the work that I already do? If I do the work and there is frustration attached to it, the frustration will be what will limit whatever it is that I do to reach that potential. The things that I do might be right, but the energy behind what I do might be limited. So the second thing is realize if there is something you're working very hard towards and you're willing to reflect over the way you live your life regarding this specific thing that you want, desire, working on to manifest, and you're willing to look internally and ask yourself, do I put my 100% in it? You know what happened over time? We work very hard, don't see results. We might continue to do the work, but with less energy, right? Let me tell you something. Normally in that point, when you start to put less energy in the things that you worked so hard towards, normally it's just the moment before the breakthrough. The work that we do towards the goals and towards spiritual visions that we have regarding our potential in any compartment of our lives needs constantly to elevate, not only in the actions level, but in the energy level that we're inserting, that we're injecting into what we do. And as we taking ourselves into that place of the actions, one thing that Korach didn't do is combining it with this, I'm calling it patience, but this patience in the spiritual level is realizing there might be a better way of doing what you do. There might be a better timing for things to happen than what you wish. Patience is realizing there is a room to bring some humility into the process. I see what I see, and it might be not the perfect picture. It might be that there is something much better. I would put all my work, but I would be open. I would come to Moses. If Korach would come to Moses and tell Moses, listen, this is what I see in my vision. You know I'm elevated. You know I have the divine inspiration. You know that I receive messages. And I can see, if Korach would say, I can see that there is an opening now to bring the world to its final state of correction. Maybe Moses would tell him, you're right, but not in this way, in another way. The way you do, it's not the right way. It will create the opposite outcome. If you would come with a bit humility, take a step back, and instead of just taking it all the way from A to Z, realize I might be wrong here, things would ended up different. In this week, we want to take a look especially into desires that are awakened inside of us. And we want to ask ourselves two questions. One, if I'm not yet taking the actions, if I'm still in a state of wishing and waiting maybe that the universe will change something for me and then it will happen, it will never happen. We need to take actions in this world. So the first question is, what are the actions that I need to take? What are the actions that needed to be taken in this process in order to achieve this higher level of desires? And then the second question, as we mentioned, is regarding to patience, developing. Do I have the patience? Do I have the patience? Meaning, not being patient, in the literal way of it. Do I know, honestly, deep inside of myself, that whatever actions that I'm about to take, for sure, there is even a shorter route to get into that, of what I want. There is a better way to get into what I want. I will still take the actions, but with open-minded, for the universe to give me messages, to manifest my desires in better ways. In a timing that will be more of the right timing, and in a way that will end up to be a better way than what I would expect or what I could see as far as the manifestation.